Can you believe there's only 3 days left until the NFL draft? Here at Draft Theory, we're going to tell you who you should be targeting right now in your best ball drafts before the NFL draft when ADP starts to correct. I'm Terrence. Joining me today is a draft room surgeon, winner of leagues, the football plug on X, YouTube, and other platforms, Chris, the ball knower. Now, the first 8 guys on this list can be had for free right now in the very last round of your draft. The next 7, they should be much better picks for best ball. They're a little more safe, and they project to be a larger part of their new team's offense. Now, the first guy we're going to talk about today, we're starting at the back end. These guys are the deep sleepers. These guys can all be had for free. Skylar Bell from Connecticut. His average draft position right now is 229. He's an exciting wide receiver from UConn. He was productive there. He caught 101 passes for almost 1,300 yards. He didn't exactly play against the best defenses in college. I think things are going to get a lot harder for him at the next level. You know, my opinion could change, but for now, pre-draft, I'm not really taking him. What do you think, Chris?
I'm a bit higher on Skylar Bell here. As you said, 101 catches, dude. That
It's impressive.
potential, it's impressive. Anywhere, even at the lesser competitiveness. He ran a 440, good broad jump, good vertical. I do like his character traits, man. He stayed at UConn after being offered a 500K transfer. Elite production, elite acceleration, and to get him for free, if this guy lands in any sort of situation that could get him into a third wide receiver on his team this year, I
I hear
think at
that.
the end of your draft, I mean, it's free. I mean, there's no reason not to give it a dart throw.
Yeah, take a couple shots. I'm not discouraging it. All right, let's go to the next guy on the list. We got Ted Hurst from Georgia State, another guy who played at a small college. Ted Hurst is an interesting prospect. He didn't play against the best competition at Georgia State, but he did dominate. He was a big fish in a small pond after an early transfer from a Division II school. Although he transferred to a top tier school and got more attention, he could have. Again, I mean, you know, he already transferred to Georgia State, but he could have transferred again to Alabama or Georgia or whatever. But he
Yep,
didn't. He
that's
was
true.
loyal to his coaching staff. He didn't transfer again. He believed in himself. He believed that he was going to get noticed by the NFL, and it worked. There's a little bit of loyalty there. I can respect that.
Yeah, man. I mean, at 21 years old, this kid put up 71 for 1,006 touchdowns, 6'4", 4.24 or 4.4, 240. Long-legged, runs fast for a long-legged kid.
Big and
That's one
fast.
thing. Yeah, that's one thing that really sticks out to me. Good acceleration for them long-legged guys. Good downhill speeds. Really got a second gear. Above average ball tracking. I mean, and I think I mentioned this off camera here. Steve Smith, the legendary wide receiver, compared him to Larry Fitzgerald. So that's some big praise coming from a pretty good wide out there.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd like to hear that.
Yeah, right.
All right. So now, our next guy on this list, Antonio Williams. Antonio Williams going 231 on average, ADP, 5'11, 187. He's a great route runner. He's an exciting player. He could come out of nowhere and surprise some people. I'm not drafting him, at least not now, not pre draft. We'll see where he ends up. How about you?
Yeah, pre-draft it's kind of tough, man. You know, he's one of these really late day three type of guys, maybe undrafted. Depending on where he goes, you know, potentially we could make a video about dynasty players or something like that. But as of now, you know, to really sum it up, he's just a good over the middle guy, finds a soft middle, good in zone, goes up and gets it. Very productive for Clemson, but don't consider him much of a year one takeover type of player.
I think we agree there. He might be a landmine. I'd avoid him in the draft, at least for now.
At least for now, I agree.
All right. Our next guy on the list, Elijah Surratt. He went to Indiana. His average draft position right now is 215. Now, Omar Cooper is a more recognizable name from Indiana, but Surratt outperformed Cooper over the last 2 years. He has a really good understanding of the whole field. He's very smooth. I mean, when he runs his routes, it's like, wow, he's cutting through like butter. My opinion of Surratt has been going up the closer we get to the draft. I do want to get a little bit of exposure here. What do you think?
So I think in this one, guys, listen, this one could be the biggest difference in pre-draft to post-draft type of plays. You're gonna see this guy in the offensive or the summer leagues and the camps. He's gonna go nuts, man. He had 20 touchdowns. This guy outproduced um his co-running mate, Mario Cooper. And man, I'll tell you, he's aggressive. And again, my favorite thing about this man is his nickname is the Waffle House. The guy's always open, man. He's always open.
Well, that came from his dad. I don't know if it's true.
Well, it's self-proclaimed or not. I think we can actually,
Well,
agree that
he is a steal. And going
yeah,
215, you might not be able to get him in the last round. You might have to go 18 or 19 on this guy.
sure.
But he's probably worth it. He's probably
Yeah,
worth it.
I think so. And I think this will be one of the biggest draft day, pre-draft and post-draft risers.
Okay. That's a nice little projection. All right. Our next guy, Chris Brazel, the skyscraper. Average draft position, 220. He may end up being a decent player, but considering the depth of this class, I don't love him in best ball as a rookie. He needs to put on weight, in my opinion, like significant weight. I'm not taking him. I know I have him ranked here kind of high in the list because I am taking some shots on him a little bit, but not really. Very small percentage. What do you think?
Yeah, again, I mean, I think what people need to realize when we talk about these guys is we're not going and telling you to go out and just take every dart throw on every one of these guys. But if you want to get a lot of variation into your draft leagues, you should be drafting as many best balls as possible to be able to hit that percentage of win totals. And these are the guys that we want you to mix in and mix out when we have to. We don't want you to take every single one of these guys every single time. We want you to mix and match and try and find the value in the
Got to
leagues
find the
where
good
where
value.
you're where you're drafting. Correct. I mean, because every league's going to be different, and someone may be drafted. And if this guy's sitting there, pick 20, and your depth was a bit low at wide receiver, snag him, take the flyer.
I hear you. That's nice advice. Now, from one Chris B to the next. Chris Bell from Louisville. Average draft position, 228. Now, I see highlight play potential.
Yeah.
I really do. He tends to shy away from contact. He takes early exits out of bounds instead of trying to fight through initial tackles. That could be a good thing for keeping himself healthy, but unless he ends up in a situation where they're regularly scheming him open and using him in creative ways, I don't love drafting him in best ball drafts right now. He could very well, that could change later. We'll see where he ends up. He's not my absolute favorite, but I do have him ranked 10 on this list because he is worth taking a couple shots on, especially in the 20th round. How do you feel about
Yeah.
Chris Bell?
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think he's a highlight reel, man. At 6'2", 220, he had 72 for 912 in November before he tore his ACL. So that's one thing that's going to have to be taken care of even to start the year, which could set him back, and that's going to be a big hamper. But if this guy's projected and he's looking good in training camp and he is out there, again, one of those late dart throws, man. This guy's got a ton of talent.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on. Zach Branch from Georgia.
Hmm.
Another guy you can get in the last round. He's the screen machine. He ran a 4.35. He's got elite change of direction ability. He's dangerous in space. He made a lot of SEC defenders look foolish. I'll tell you that right now. I think whoever drafts Branch is going to view him as an offensive weapon. They'll have a plan to scheme up plays for him specifically, and in my opinion, it's worth having a decent amount of him. You want exposure to Zachariah Branch. I'm not sure where he's going to go. I think he's going to go in the second round of the actual NFL draft, and I think that someone's going to value him really high, and you're going to use him a lot. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if this guy gets sneaks into like a day two pick, this guy could absolutely make a bit of an influence year one. Just a few notes, the guy's fast, obviously, 22, 20 reps on the bench for being his size. I like to note that. That's a pretty big strength related thing there.
Yeah,
And
upper
my
body
other note,
strength.
yeah, right, right. Big enough to fight off the hands, get open, catch those balls. To your screen point, yeah, he's either had a bunch of bad play calling over there or he's just a screen merchant.
Now he can go deep too. I just really like him on the screenplays. I mean, he's making people look foolish, juking everyone out of their shoes.
Sure, almost like a Luther Burden of last year. The guy, once you get the ball in his hands, he can make plays.
All right, let's move on to our next fella. Malachi Fields, Notre Dame, big body, 6'4", physical wide receiver. I think if Notre Dame didn't have such a good run game with two quality backs and they
True.
had to lean on Fields more, he would have been talked about in the first round. He'll probably go late second or early third. I want exposure to him pre-draft. I want a decent amount of it. I hope he ends up on my team. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna take a wideout, man, I do love my wideouts to be 6'3", 6'4", 215 plus. The guy is a huge guy, kind of almost is Rome Dunes like, a former teammate. He just goes up there and gets after it, man. His traits are just so unbelievable. Wasn't really relied on. That's really the key point here is that if he gets the opportunities to do this in the NFL, will he outshine where he's being drafted?
It's a good point. It's a good point. All right. Jeremy Bernard. All right. Alabama. Prototype possession wide receiver who can stretch the field. He ran a 4.48. Not exactly a burner, but his size and athleticism make up for it. He has a knack for turning up field and at confusing angles. He doesn't just turn up field anywhere. He knows where the defenders are at, and he takes the right angle so they do not have an easy tackle. I like Jeremy Bernard a lot. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, good hand size, good after the catch, good excel. Not really a burner. He could be more aggressive, in my opinion. I do think he'll have a shot. I have him a little bit lower on my board here. I would take more dart throws at some of the previous guys we've already discussed here, specifically Skylar Bell or maybe Brazel, one of them guys. But yeah, Jeremy Bernard serviceable.
Sure, and he's still a guy you can get in the last couple of rounds, at least right now.
Yeah,
After the
guys,
draft,
these
he's
are
probably going to fly up to 12th, 13th round.
yeah,
But
guys,
right now,
these
you
are
can get
all
him for cheap.
Yeah, these are all late round dart throws here, guys. We're not saying spend your first 10 round picks on them. Like these are guys late in the draft. We're telling you to
But you
snag.
know what? We're coming up on some guys that are going to go a little earlier.
Yeah,
We're getting close. We're
we
getting
had to get
close.
there. Yeah, yep.
All right. So now, our next guy here also went to Indiana
Hmm.
with Surratt, another fellow we already talked about. And we already talked about how Surratt had a better year than him the last 2 years in a row. But Omar Cooper Jr. makes highlight plays. He needs to work on his route running a little bit. He's very athletic. He's great with the run after the catch skills. And that looks to translate to the NFL very nicely. Cooper has a decent chance of making a splash in the NFL right away. He's worth taking some shots on right now before the NFL draft. But I'm not going crazy taking this guy. But he's a guy I'm watching. Depending on where he ends up, I might start taking him a lot more after the draft. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, dude, the guy's got talent. Obviously, had 900 yards, 13 touchdowns. Only, Elijah Surratt had more.
Now, I
Guy
should
had
have said his average draft position is 140. So this
right,
guy's going much higher than the other guys we've been talking about. You are not getting him in the 18th round or later. You're going to have to spend a
right,
higher pick on him. It might be
right.
worth
Yeah,
it.
and it may be worth it. And obviously, that's a more recognizable name. He was more productive yardage wise. He did led the team in receiving, 20 touchdowns in 2 seasons, 2.55 yards per route run, which is pretty good in his last season. I think this guy's more of a household name. We'll see where the value shakes out to be, but yeah, he's definitely he's there. He's definitely an NFL ready wideout.
I hear you. But I'll tell you what, one of the reasons why I don't love drafting him around 140 is because of the next guy on the list. And this next guy on
Yeah,
the list is getting
yeah,
drafted around 154 on average. He's a big, tall wide receiver. I'm talking about Denzel Boston from Washington.
correct.
Now, this guy has body control for a big player. I mean, he really has the proprioception down. He understands where his body is in space. He can play outside, but also he's not afraid to come across the middle. He plays hard through all tackles. He doesn't let chips ruin his routes. He fights through initial contact. I really like Denzel Boston. This guy's going to be a stud, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's your prototypical X wide receiver, man. He is going to get up there and get after it. 6'4". I mean, he had 20 touchdowns in 2 seasons. He had 4 drops on 209 career targets. He could have followed his head coach over to Alabama. He stuck tough with Washington. It paid off. He really bet on himself, man. 209 pounds. He is a monster, man.
Yeah. Grab you some Denzel Boston in your best ball drafts right
Now,
now, before the
do it now,
draft, after
right
the
now.
draft, anytime you're drafting. I mean,
Right.
don't grab him every draft, but you get good value on this guy. He's someone to target for sure.
If you can pick him as the fifth, fourth wide out in your drafts right now, because come draft time or post draft, he's going to be going as a minimum of your fourth wide out.
Yeah, I definitely project him to be a solid flex play. Obviously,
Correct.
best ball is going to slide in your best players every week. You don't even have to think about it. But He's gonna make it into your flex spot. He might make it into your starter wide receiver spot sometimes.
He might do it. I agree.
All right, moving along. We have KC Concepcion from Texas A&M. Now he goes even a little higher still. Good reason. I'm a big fan of this player right here. He's more of a football player than a wide receiver. Concepcion became the first A&M player in the modern era to score via the rush, the reception, and the punt return in a single season. His
It's
9
impressive.
receiving touchdowns tied for the SEC lead last year. He had over 1,400 combined yards when you factor in the rushing and the punt returns. He won the 25 Paul Harnog Award given to the nation's most versatile player. That means you're a weapon. That's what that means. You should strongly consider taking him right now before the draft, anytime he falls past ADP. And you know what? He might even be worth reaching a couple picks for.
Yeah, he might be just that. 2 years at NC State, won ACC Rookie of the Year. He did have a rough two first years with 92% of his plays coming out of the slot, mostly a gadget guy. He goes to A&M though, and his slot usage drops down to 38%. Huge, huge difference there, man. They really used him, and by doing that, it showed how good he was as an actual football player. If I did have to nag though, and this is the elephant in the room for this guy,
The
he's got
drops.
a yeah, the 11% drop rate at A&M, 19% over 3 years. That's a tough thing to overlook, but maybe with some coaching and a little bit more, getting used to the NFL speed, that should do it. I'm projecting him more as like a Percy Harvin type man. I mean, this guy's got real potential though. He
That's
really
nice
does.
praise.
Yeah, I think so. I think this guy can change your team. I really think that this guy in the right situation and with the stars aligning just correctly, I believe this guy can sneak in as a wide receiver three on your team from week to week.
All right. Now, he's the fourth guy on our best ball list. We still have three left. You're comparing him to Percy Harvin. That says pretty good things about the next guys. Now, just to clear this up, these next top three guys and all of these guys, this is not how we project them in their career or where they're going to go in the actual NFL draft. This has to do with their value in best ball drafts. So don't go arguing, saying, oh, this guy is definitely better than this guy. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about impact, year one, best ball. So now, without further ado, our number three best ball wide receiver for the 2026 NFL season is Carnell Tate. Now, Carnell Tate, a lot of people have him ranked as their number one wide receiver pre draft because he's poised to step in, hopefully be someone's number two wideout right away. He's going to be steady Eddie for best ball all season. There's a handful of other guys who have higher upside potential, but my rankings will probably change after the draft. Carnell Tate posted significant production during the 2025 season at Ohio State. He had 51 receptions for 871 or 75 yards. Now, that might not blow you away, but Ohio State had a lot of weapons. And he is a good player. He's tall, he's fast, he's got it all basically. He is going to be steady Eddie. But you know what? I don't think he's going to be that guy that come in and score 30 points a week. I think he's going to be real solid, keep you from having zeros ever. He's going to have 10, 15 points almost every week. But I think there's a couple more guys who are going to be even better than Carnell Tate for best ball this year. What about you?
Yeah, so this one might be somewhat of a hot take here. I'm not a huge fan of Carnell Tate for best ball, and I want to just put that out there for
Sure.
best ball purposes. As a football player, I do think he'll be great for an NFL team. But as you alluded to, the steady Eddie thing is kind of what will kill you for your best ball.
It's
You're
true.
gonna have to take him kind of early. He's gonna be a well-known name, and there won't be a lot of games, in my opinion, where he's gonna hit 25, 30 points, if any.
Yeah.
To where you're gonna have to draft him. I just don't think he'll give back the value. And for the NFL draft in general, I don't even know if he's the top three wideouts that should be taken. I have Lemon, Tyson, Denzel, Boston all above him in my
Oh, you
rankings.
have Boston above him.
I do. I think Boston has the pure potential to be the elite X wide receiver. And my argument would be against this is Tate wasn't even the best wideout on his own team. We like to say how many weapons Ohio State have, and they did, and they used them more than Carnell Tate. So,
True.
I'm not saying that this kid's a bust, and this kid should have a great career and all that, but for best ball purposes only, I think this guy will be a overreach in most of your drafts.
That's fair. That's fair. And you know what? I don't even disagree. It's very possible that Boston and Concepcion could be better than him in
Yes.
best ball for year one.
Yes.
I
Absolutely.
kind of put him in the top three to avoid being disrespectful because everyone's got
Sure.
this guy ranked number one.
Sure.
And I
Yep.
thought moving him down to number three was a little bit,
Yeah.
so I didn't want to
I
move him
get it.
down too far, but I do agree with
I
you
get
for the
it.
most part. I mean,
It's just tough for me, man. It's just where you're gonna go. I think people fall into the trap of getting this guy that's gonna be a great football player and actually do things for his team compared to do things for best ball production. In best ball, we don't have to we don't have to set a lineup. So, having that steady Eddie guy, yes, that helps
yeah,
on a
we avoid
redraft
the
league.
zeros, but it's
Yeah,
not winning you weeks.
it will not get you that 30-point league where Conception goes bananas, where Denzel snags 3 TDs, or some of these 2 next guys we're gonna talk about do. Like, I just think there's better options.
All right, fair enough. All right, moving right along. We got Jordan Tyson, Arizona State. This guy's going around pick 79 right now. He would be my number one wide receiver. I mean, he should be most people's number one receiver, but there's some injury concerns. He's torn his
Mm.
ACL, his MCL, his PCL, all the L's. He fractured a clavicle. He missed time with a hamstring. In my mind, there's no debate. He looks like the wide receiver with the most superstar potential. I mean, have you seen some of those highlights? It's crazy. He's going up,
I
getting
mean,
the ball with the body control. He's
bananas.
turning around. He's breaking dudes' ankles. I mean, it's crazy. He looks like Malik Neighbors out there. But can he stay healthy? First, he needs to
Oof,
learn how to fall when he gets tackled.
that's tough, yeah.
He doesn't ever think he's going to get tackled. That's the thing. He thinks he can break everyone's ankles, and most of the time he can. But when they get him and they bring him down to the ground, the defender's controlling it, and that is not great as far as injury concerns.
He does he allows defenders to control his body on tackles, and the tape shows it, man. When you get tackled like that, you're not really controlling your own body going down. That's why a lot of these injuries pop up, it's a real concern. Outside of those concerns, if this guy can put together a 16, 17 game
If he
season
stays
and
healthy.
gets picked at 9 to KC and is opposite of Rasheed Rice, man, woo, that guy could be a league winner.
Yeah, he definitely could be. That's why you need exposure to him. Even if you think he's going to
Absolutely.
get hurt, you think he's going to
Yeah.
end up on a bad team, no matter what you think, you need some exposure to this guy because he could
Y-
be the guy who wins the league. I mean,
Yeah, and
it's not a definite, but it's very possible, especially if he stays healthy.
what would you say his average was? 69 ADP?
79 right now.
79. So that's flirting around, late sixth, seventh round there. That's a pretty, not to get me wrong, that's a high pick for
It
a
is
rookie
for solid
that could
veterans
get
available.
injured. That's definitely, but the upside to return there could be, it'd be the equivalent of drafting a second wideout. It's such good value at that point.
I mean, right now, out of all these wide receivers, Carnell Tate has the highest ADP at 64.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, it's
The
because all
talking
the
heads,
hype, the analysts,
yeah,
everyone
the
says he's
big
going to be the first
shows,
wide receiver taken, and a lot
absolutely.
of people just automatically assume that means he's the best wide receiver. He's going to be
Correct.
best for fantasy. He's going to be best for this. It doesn't always work like that.
And it will be interesting to see how it shakes out. This is why we tell you guys, man, these pre-drafts to post-draft drafts, these are where you're gonna potentially snag some values. When a Carnell Tate doesn't get drafted first or potentially second, slips to be the third or fourth wideout drafted, his stock's gonna plummet a little bit. Not, whether
I
it's
mean, people
correct
are
or
still going to be
not.
chasing him.
Sure, sure. I just think if he gets drafted not as a top 2 wideout, that's gonna hit his stock a little bit.
True, true. I do expect him to go top two wideouts, though. He's probably going to be either the first or the second, I would guess. He could be the third or fourth,
I
even.
th
But
I think third the potential. I don't think a real NFL team will sneak Boston in before him, but they should.
yeah. Well, a lot of analysts are real worried about the injury concerns, but I think
Right.
they're kind of just looking at history. The teams want that exciting player, and they
You
think
got
that
it.
their health and training staff can keep him healthy, build him up nice and strong. You,
Right.
they're
And
confident in their own systems. You can't blame them.
right. And the history has shown, how many guys have we sat here and looked at every year where they say, "What if this guy just wasn't hurt?" They still get drafted every year. They don't get left behind,
Guys
they're
get
they're
drafted
getting
who are
drafted.
hurt sometimes if they're good enough.
They're correct. Right, right. Absolutely.
All right. So counting down. We are now at the number one best ball projected wide receiver for the 2026 season. Pre-draft. Of course, these are all pre-draft rankings, and everything will change next week. Makai Lemon,
Mhm.
ADP 73. Lemon has a realistic path to being best ball rookie wide receiver one this year. To me, he projects as a star level slot wide receiver in the NFL. And there's few guys who are going to go before him who are expected to play on the outside and be matched up against cornerback ones and quarterback twos all year. This guy is going to be in the slot. He's going to be playing against nickelbacks. He's going to be able to expose some flaws in the defense. He has great playmaking ability. We'll see how teams view Jordan Tyson and his injury concerns. Lemon has a chance to be the second wide receiver taken in the NFL draft. He might even be the first.
He
I
might
don't
be
really
one.
see that,
Yeah,
but there is a small chance that Lemon could be the first wide receiver taken in the NFL draft.
absolutely. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Yeah, and just to build on what you said there, the guy is a slot size build, but his catch radius, right? Like this guy's not just you know, a Julian Edelman who's
He's
just
kind of
gonna slant.
jacked.
Dude, he's big. He's got a huge catch radius. You know, the production is through the roof. 40 time was a bit lackluster, but not terrible. 4.46. He didn't run at the combine, but that was what some scouts clocked him at his pro day.
That was pro day.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, pro day. Yep. I just think that he just didn't need to run. He just let his, you know, his production talk. USC, obviously caliber, you know, so he's got the pedigree over there. And the guy, you know, to your point, he will not be going against, you know, your top cornerbacks. He's going to be eating over the middle. He's going to be going against those slow linebackers. He's going to be going against those nickel corners. He's going to be in the areas to produce, you know, your 7 catches for 70. You know, that could just be his floor. That could be it. If he scores, maybe gets 2 tutties in a game, there's your elite production. There's your guys that can produce year one. Year one changes, you know, the defenses don't get to see tape. There'll be 4 or 5 weeks before defenses even really figure out how to cover this guy.
Yeah. And you know what? He's a dynamic return specialist, too. So teams are going to
Yeah,
use him on special teams. He's
right.
going to have a lot of value.
I think so, man. I really think I think this guy is a potential league winner. I know that term gets floated out there a lot, but these are the people that are going to have the opportunity, the talent, and the way to make it happen week in and week out.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you
And
know,
those are the 15 wide receivers that you should be taking in your best ball drafts right now before the NFL draft. Because
right now
prices are going to correct. ADP is going to change. These guys are going to start flying up the board as soon as destinations are known. I'm
or flying
Terrence.
down.
He's Chris. And we are Draft Theory.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.